Madam for mo yare 68 years. Go and heal yourself. The last time it's here, John Mahama. Mo de sa asofo na no minyama so maybe Monday. Sa asofo no mo ma John Mahama nya Mr. President Mahama me pacho. You don't have time. Sa time no asofo no e be ba betra ho na wo mo be waste.
Good evening once again. This is an NDC journalist. And what is happening? This NDC journalist is angry. Why is he angry? He's angry because he feels that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, IFN, the Gonja dictator, he's wasting time. Why is he wasting time? He feels he's wasting time because there are things that he must do. He has a social contract with the people. On any year, your contract. Esa say, oye campaign, or be can send back you be say, yeah man 120 days, or bad my mono, within those 120 days, no, when you win or be. And the Ghanaians watched these things and voted for him. But to understand why this journalist is now angry, no, we must take a little step backward and look at how campaign went. One of the things that worked against MPP, Ebra Ekoye campaign for 2024, they say, pastors, some pastors, in fact, most pastors, they actually took over the whole campaign. And for the first time in our history, no, in a way that we have never seen before, okay, in a way we had never seen before, pastors were so much interested in the outcome of the election. So much so that almost every day, 90 prophecies, one prophecy after the other, one prophecy after the other. Now, we must understand, Christopher, him say, every king or every leader, biano, only prophet, nenam, NDC in the Bible, when you look at David, I believe at that time his prophet was called Nathan or so, right? Almost every prophet, every leader that God has appointed for his people had a certain prophet that they work with. Now, we must also understand, say, in the Old Testament, no, those prophets were selected by God, number one, and number two, they were not there to bootlick the leader, right? And so those prophets were not there because of what they will gain. If you take the example of Saul and Samuel, you realize that Saul was there to put Samuel on his toes. Samuel was there to put Saul on his toes. When Saul goes wrong, Samuel will tell Saul, Saul, you've done this thing wrong. This was not supposed to be so. This is what God says you should do for his people. One prophet, not prophets. One prophet. Right. So we can say, any pastor who want to prophesy, any prophet who wants to prophesy about election, it is not really wrong. It is not really wrong. I am a Christian, and you see, I'm giving you from the biblical perspective. It's not really wrong for a prophet to prophesy about the outcome of an election. But now here is the catch. We all go to churches. Some of us are charismatics. I am a charismatic. How many times has it been that a prophet will prophesy to you, say, oh, a year by this time, you will travel. Then that prophet, after prophesying to you, will come to you every single day to help you and pray with you until you travel. It doesn't help. It doesn't happen most often, because maybe common floor members and or ocean come here, they tell you that you must now pray to ensure, say, your prophecy comes to pass. That is what we are told. So ideally, when a prophet prophesies, say God is telling him, say, this or that person is going to be the one to win the election, their works end there. God told you to speak. You have spoken. That is the end of your work. The rest is up to the politician to ensure, say, the word that God has released over their life comes to pass. Now, in Ghana, what we are seeing right now, say, the prophets have prophesied. Now, after prophesying and after seeing through that, the prophecy came to pass through ways that some of us do not agree with. Because as we were going to the election, some pastors even came out to lay a case on their members, say, wow, be free sorry we mu bia koto abama baomiano enye yema and your entire family. So some pastors even laid cases on their members.
See time no. Sebeya, Mr. Mahama, President, Your Excellency, cut it off. May say go to the global south. Go there and see development na cost no enye so obi de asofo hihye dem ni sa waste of time asofo no so feel that this is their time 4 years no person so the milk president no brutal and here the time wasting no then mahihye mo nkom na wie asofo mu tie na mo Monday na meba mo so mahihye mo nkom na wie allow President Mahama to breathe, allow President Mahama to work. Archbishop Duncan Williams, all of you, Mama John Mahama kwan no nyina juma. Please, with the greatest of respect, all of you, Archbishop, wona udi mukai, Mama John Mahama kwan no nyina juma. We need more options, so more than dramatics. We need more options than dramatic. John Mahama ain't got time to waste, all right? No, man, there ain't time for him to waste it. Because anytime soon, he's going to walk out of the door. And Ghanaians, same Ghanaians, will come and blame him, say, Wanyashi, ne binuma chinashe dem. And I pay we are nanajo. I saw from the so much, ne honor me say, met Baho Mandi. I saw from me, John Mahama, Kobompire, hey, bebre ye Satan for, omuye, Sasabon Sam for, me would diagram Mandi, me would be. One moment, John Mahama question them war. Me say some of them even prophesy said John Mahama will not even win. Yet omina ne share them war. A bonia for bonia show mama Satan for omina answer one kikawa. Yes.
Just to ensure say they go and vote for John Mahama. Now, normally, say if it was for the betterment of Ghana, if it was for the good of Ghana, after the prophecy has come to pass, they are supposed to now exit the scene, concentrate on their churches. Is that not so? But what is happening right now in Ghana is that after the prophecy has come to pass, now there is this rush to be seen with the president, number one, and there is this rush to be favored by the president. Now, when him say, a lot of people have contributed to the victory of NDC. Journalists will say, "Ah, ni bufu okasano." He has also contributed to the victory of the NDC because all can propaganda no be. His feeling say John Mahama is excellency, you know, ni attention in I was off for nisu. So some of them will not be able to get some of the cake before the 4 years is over. So they are angry and they come out to attack the pastors. Now you ask yourself, say, what is there to gain as a pastor? Why are the prophets all around John Mahama? They don't want to even give him small space. Number one thing that every man of God in Ghana desires is traveling. Remember, almost all the men of God, they want to be seen, say, oh, I've left Ghana, I've gone to UK to preach, I've gone to US to preach, I've gone to Norway, I've gone to France, I've gone to Spain, I've gone to Italy, I've gone to Russia, I've gone to China to preach, I've gone to Japan. All men of God would like to travel. Now, one difficult thing about traveling is, say, the most difficult aspect is visa, getting visa. Sometimes, you know, if you carry a common passport, like the way some of us carry, it is hard for you to get a visa. So as a man of God, you would want to get a different passport from what the ordinary person has. So they will be close. The man of God will want to get close to John Mahama because John Mahama is that person that can grant you a diplomatic passport. So the number one reason why men of God, you are seeing them, they prophesied and made sure say NDC wins and John Mahama becomes president is because most of them are looking for diplomatic passports. Because when you have a diplomatic passport, you do not struggle or suffer with visa. So, number one intention. Number two intention, we were all made known by Kumawood actors. Okay? And some people who actually campaign for NDC say, under John Dramani Mahama's first coming, people were giving cars that they had not worked for. People were giving lands they had not worked for. People were giving houses they had not worked for. And so, men of God, some men of God coming to realize, say, there is actually some freebies that are with NDC. If John Mahama wins, no, they put their weight behind John Mahama. Now John Mahama has won. They now must get back. They must get some of the goodies that come with John Mahama being president. That is the car, the house, the cash, the lands, etc. Now, if you think I'm lying, let me take you to 31st December 2024. Whilst Prophet Nigel Gezi was prophesying, he said something. He said that under Akufo-Addo, because of the fight he had with Kennedy Japan all over NDC in same way, he even lost his house. It came to a time that he had to be sleeping in a car, right? Because he was homeless. And so NDC and John Mahama should not forget him. If someone tells you that there was a time I was homeless, I didn't have a house, all because I was following you, and now that you are in a good place, remember me, what does that person mean? The person means, say, I need a house. So it shows you some of the motive for which they are following His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Other things are also appointments. Pastors do get appointments. They can be appointed to serve on boards, on statutory boards. They can be appointed to serve on councils, university councils. And all these things come with its own advantages. One again goes to the diplomatic passport. If you are serving on the Council of State and other stuff, you get a chance to get a diplomatic passport. And let me tell you, one thing about the diplomatic passport is that because of the benefit you get at the point of exit and the point of entry, many people use the diplomatic passport to do their own shady deals, shady dealings. So you realize that some people, some of our politicians, some of our pastors, allegedly, even some of them in the past have been caught with cocaine because they have the diplomatic passport and they know they will not be searched at their point of entry. So you see them traveling almost every week, up and down, up and down, up and down, making money that they cannot tell you how they are making the money. So that is why they rush. There is a rush for the diplomatic passport and other things. So the reason most men of God right now are around John Mahama is not because they are praying for the nation. It is because of what they can gain, their selfish interest. And anybody who prophesies because God asked them to prophesy, their work is done. Their work is done. Now they are supposed to be concentrating on their church members, not hunting the president up and about. I say president has organized prayers with the clergy, and over almost 20 men of God plus have gone to the president. Do you think they will all go back empty-handed? No. Did they not pay for the fuel that the cars they drove there? They pay for fuel. So by all means, the president will give them something small for fuel. And something small will not be less than 10,000 Ghana cedis. Most men of God who have gone for that prayer, if you give them 50,000 cedis cry, you have insulted them. In fact, if you give them cedis cry, you have insulted them. So they will be expecting dollars. And you don't dare give them anything less than $5,000. And there are over 20 of them. They have gone to the house of the president that they are going to hold prayer meeting with him. And this was after Mahama meets with the clergy. After John Mahama meets with the clergy. Another prayer section. Private prayer section. So the question is that how many of these prayer sections are going to be held throughout the 4 years of John Mahama? Private ones. And how many times will a lorry fares, a fuel allowance, and all this be given to some of these pastors? And with all these people wanting a stake in the national cake, when will it reach you and I, common floor members? These were some of the reasons why they never wanted Bawumia to become president, because they knew Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia was a principled person. He was a man that was a digital man. He believed in digital transactions. And so if you want to tell Dr. Bawumia that, oh, I want to come to your house to come and pray with you, he will tell you, why don't we do it on Zoom? Why don't we do it on Microsoft Teams? Right? Why don't you call on WhatsApp video? Then you pray with me. You don't need to come all the way from Ashanti region, all the way from Northern region to Accra, where the president is. Bawumia will tell you that. Mama cannot tell you that. Mama will tell you, come to the house. Because there is money to spend. And you see, this was some of the things that His Excellency Akufo-Addo realized in the early days of his presidency. And he started drawing away from some of the men of God. And people became bitter because of that. People said, oh, when Akufo-Addo was in opposition, it was the men of God who were praying with him and all those things. Akufo-Addo realized that if he wants to entertain some of these men of God, he will be forced to relegate his actual duty, which is that of being a leader to the people, to becoming a puppet to some of the men of God. So this journalist is now angry. You are not angry enough. You were part of the problem. You are part of the problems. User 6A says, open their eyes, brother. So-called pastors and prophets, they are antichrist. Yeah. Every human being, I told you, whilst you were campaigning, that everybody has a stake in the election. There was something that everybody was looking for. I told you. Did I not tell you? I told you. Now you are seeing it. You are hearing about the confrontations between some of the men of God. Some people felt that over the past 8 years, they were there for NDC. So they don't understand why now NDC has won power and certain big men of God are the ones who are taking center stage. People are hurt. And all these confrontations are ongoing. Now, pastors can no longer preach the word of God on their pulpit. Instead, they preach the way they have been supportive to the NDC and how they are waiting for NDC to come back and bow before them and give them some of the national cake. Ask yourself, the nations, some of our peers, I believe in divinity. I believe that God exists and that God rules in the affairs of men. Don't get me wrong. And in fact, the mere fact that I am in MPP shows that I believe in God, because MPP is a right-wing thinking political party. And right-wing thinking political party believes that in everything you do as a politician, you have to rely on God to bring the increase. That is a right-wing ideology. That is MPP ideology. So I believe in divinity. But the question I'm asking is that our peers, Malaysia, Singapore, and those nations that used to be our peers that we were in the same league with, who are taking the lead, did they have some men of God around the president always doing fanfarism and offering prayers before the president will be able to think about policies to lead this nation forward? Is that it? So John Mahama, His Excellency, cannot think of his own. Whilst he was in opposition, whilst he was campaigning, he did not have any plans. It will take the men of God to come and pray now for John Mahama to have inspiration to lead the nation. What if God decided not to speak? Because there were times in the Bible where God decided to intentionally be quiet. So what if God decides to be quiet? Does it mean that John Mahama, His Excellency, won't be able to do anything for the next 4 years ahead of us? Please, our men of God, enough is enough. Allow the president to sit down, to reflect, to think. Let him call technocrats. Let him call people in academia, people who are doing research. Let them sit, crack the head, their brains, and let them do things. Start doing. We are too fond of doing these things. The people who brought us a religion, they themselves right now, they are even thinking about how to do cloning. People are doing gene sequencing and all those things. Nations are taking the lead. We also what happened, how some nations discovered coronavirus vaccine and they did not want to share the formula with us. They want us also to think for ourselves. So we cannot waste all the time praying. After praying, we must take the step. So men of God, please, your work is done. You have prophesied, it has come to pass. Hooray! Well done. You are anointed. Now get back to the gospel of Christ. Let the politicians be. All right. So that is about our men of God. Quick one, right? I hope I did not hit too hard, because